everybody hear me this year? Is the microphone working okay? All right, good. So nobody's going to come storming the mic this year and try to fix it for me?
Can't promise anything.
All right, so before Germanuel, or I should say Germanuel Lee, is going to be kind enough to say a prayer for us. And before we do that, two things. One, we found a pair of sunglasses. I don't know who they are, who they belong to. But they are Gerry Wooders, so I no longer care about them. Secondly, I'm sure a lot of you guys have noticed that up here we have endeavored to memorialize our retirement wall. And so what we did is we took a photograph of the wall. Mr. Tony Brown was nice enough, he had a hookup to make these type of printings. We put it on vinyl, this won't smudge, it won't fade, and we can still sign it. What you see here is a work in progress. We wanted to present it today because we know there's people that missed signing the wall before they retire. When it's done, it will be affixed much better and the borders will be a little lighter because we foresee the need to sign outside of the wall eventually. But here it is. I hope you guys are happy with it. And if you haven't signed the wall, please, we're going to encourage you to sign it. There's plenty of room still left on the picture and do that. And with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Germanuel.
Oh, you sure that tripod's big enough?
Good evening, everyone. It is nice to see some of my old, familiar friends.
What are you saying old?
Well, I'm old, so I know you, even though most of you are behind me, they're still old behind me. 69. Okay. I'll be 70 in 2 months.
You are old.
Yes, Joe, I'm alive. I would like if you all would join hands and bow your heads for a moment of prayer. Silence, please. Heavenly Father, in the blessed name of Jesus Christ, we ask you now to look upon this gathering, upon those of us who have spent the majority of our lives working with and supporting one another. And we ask you, Father, to bless us all and continue to watch over us all in retirement and continue to grant us the friendship and love we shared at work in retirement. In the blessed name of Jesus Christ, we ask this. Amen.
Amen. Thank you,
Thanks, Lee.
You like it? You know,
I know you spent hours over the other.
Oh, yeah.
it is. And she really turned the place around. I mean, we're actually making $12,000 a month now.
Ow!
Yeah. Now that's after everything else. And that goes back to the union. I'll sign it for
Still burned up. Still burned up.
Remember the sister?
Oh, yeah.
I'm recording.
Alright guys, we make your way to your seat. We're getting ready to do the presentation.
I'll take my van. You decide to go on Tuesday? Oh, I'm not. Oh, okay. Holy, that tripod big enough?
Alright guys, you make your way to your seat. We want to get started here. Yeah, you Hanson.
Cracking the whip.
He's a rebel. Alright, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Celebrate our fellow brothers' career out at the mill. First, I'm going to have Rich Gaylord. We're going to present some plaques that the union gives to the guys.
What about the guy that died? What about Miller? Kevin Miller.
So we also hand out a $400 donation to everybody that is retiring tonight as well with the plaque. So everybody have a chance to sign the wall. Everybody like the wall, works out pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to start, so I don't forget, thanking people, because there's a lot of people that work really hard to make sure that this goes off as smoothly as it does, and we have everything that we do. I'd like to start out first by thanking the Duneland Falls, the servers, Angelique, the bartender. They really do, they make special accommodations for us, and they bend over backwards every time we have an issue, and we really appreciate it. Also, I want to make sure that I recognize Woody. He's the guy that we put in charge of getting the tags for the boys, for the board.
He had one job.
And for the record, Fanzo is spelled F-A-N-Z-O. So, also, Paul Kacha, for years, has been involved with us. Thanks, Paul. And last, but certainly not least, is Mike Callahan. He really does. I mean, he makes all the phone calls, he makes the reservations. accommodations, and you know, really works his butt off. He puts some private time into it. It's not just, you know, at work. He really does a good job. So thank you, Mike. Appreciate that. So we usually have either the president or vice president here. So you're gonna have to just take me instead. They were all kind of busy. So a little peon like me. So before we get started, I'd like to first take a moment in silence for all the steel workers that have died in the line of making a ton of steel, and for the retirees that have passed away. Thank you guys. Now, that kind of leads me right into the speech I'm going to give, because I worked with some real smart asses, and they said, what kind of speech are you going to have? They're over there. So, you know, we took that moment of silence, and it made me think, when we're getting ready for this, we're talking about it, I'm talking about it at home, and my kids, and I'm sure your kids as well, have asked, hey, what's it like to work in a steel mill? What's it like to be a steel worker? And you know, you tell them basically the process, what we do in the caster, and what's it like to be in a maintenance group. And you kind of just gloss over it. But it really, you know, that question got me thinking, what's it really like being a steel worker, in maintenance, and in the caster? I'm going to tell you, being a steel worker is when you drive into work, you realize you may not drive out. And that's being a steel worker. Working at hot temperatures and cold temperatures. When you have to kneel all day, bend all day, or swing a hammer all day. That's what it's like being a steel worker, especially when you're in maintenance. You know what else it's like? Is while you're swinging that hammer all day, and your smart ass buddy tells you to hit it harder. Then they start ribbing. And on the good days, when we're not out there sweating and fighting, we're having some real good times. We're laughing, we're joking, we're playing around, and we are together. You guys have heard me say this before, I'm going to say it again because it needs to be said. We are the only department in Burns Harbor that does this. This party, from the concept, it's been an avenue for us to put aside our differences, come here, whether you're union or management, it doesn't matter. If you worked in the caster and you're retired, you get your party. And that's unique, guys, that's special. And I'm here to tell you, as long as I work there and Mike works there, this is going to continue. And so thank you very much for it. One more quick note. I'm counting like 9 of us here. There's some new people here, but out of the people I'm looking at, I see about 9 people that when we hired in, we had the opportunity to hire into things called break rooms. All right? Yeah. Hey, listen, how many of you hired in when there wasn't any break rooms? So you ate your lunch? That's right. That's right. It's true. Hey, union management, like, you know, we all fought for the same thing, the managers and hourly guys, so thank you for raising your hand. We walked into things called welfares for us to take showers. We have safety programs, we have water jugs. There's a lot of things we have today that we absolutely would not have had without the fight and the sacrifice that you guys have made. And I'm talking about you know, everybody up to now. There's 9 of us in this room that really owe you a huge thank you. We're going to promise you that we're going to try to continue to improve and definitely not go backwards in time. But thank you for your fight, and thank you for making that place a better work environment. Okay, so now we're going to hand out the plaques, and we're going to do our slideshow, and I'm going to try not to screw up the slideshow while Mike does the toasting. So the first plaque we have is for Mr. Gerry Vallangeon. And also during the roasting, Mr. Stahlbaum has brought some gag gifts. So after everybody has their turn, he will be handing out some gag gifts. Second employee is Ken Hellenga. And we have John Fanzo, F-A-N-Z-O. Gerry Ward is also on the list. I'm sure you've seen he has moved out of town and unfortunately could not make it. So at this time, I'm going to turn this over to Mike. Thank you for your patience.
I'm way shorter than Rich, so I got to lower that. Thank you, Rich, for a good speech, and kind of makes you think a little, though. You hit it right on the head there. All right, the first guy he just mentioned, Gerry Ward. A lot of you older guys might not know Gerry. He started out as a Teamster, actually, we believe, and put in over 20 years there, right?
Yes, he was actually receiving a pension.
Yeah, he retired as a Teamster, and he worked in the BOF, actually, and then he hired in the mill in, I believe, 96 or 97. And he decided to retire, and we believe he moved to Tennessee. Those of you who worked with me know Gerry was kind of quiet and exited without, without saying a whole lot to anyone. All right, so the first guy I'd like to call up here is Mr. Fanzo. I'm going to make you stand up here with me.
Oh yeah, come on, John.
Now, anyone who's ever worked with John Fanzo knows he's quite the character, and I was thinking about it, I'm like, how did Fanzo end up where he is today? You know what? Like many people, he had lots of struggles in life and lots of hurdles to overcome. And some of those hurdles he was never able to make it past. He's been plagued by this his whole life. Luckily, there's not one of those at the main gate of the mill where we never would have known him. But despite this, John being a hard worker, got into boxing and did pretty well with it. And we actually got a picture from one of his better fights. He was doing pretty good there. And actually was very successful in that. And as some of you may know, he started out east and was actually a motor inspector, started out in the union, and took a transfer to our mill as, excuse me, as a foreman. And we actually got some footage of him conducting a meeting. Now, any of you who ever received a lineup from Fanzo, that's sometimes what it felt like. He was a little tough to follow at times. But we know he's not just going to rest and sit around. He's already moving on to his next career, we think. And I can just hear him now saying, dude, you going to cross the street or what? So we know he's not just going to sit around. He's going to move on to something bigger and better. But John, in all seriousness, I like working with you. I'm going to miss you.
Thank you.
And thanks for the years out there.
Thank you.
All right. All right, Mr. Gerry Vallangeon, could you make your way up here?
East Coast coaching, man.
Okay, carry on.
We're up and running, all right. So I've only worked with Gerry since 2000, and I heard he was a little different in his younger days, so we got a hold of a picture of him and Guy coming into work one day. We were a little different back then.
It's government.
I'm not sure which one's which, but you know. But I started asking around to some of the guys that worked with Gerry. I said, you know, what was Gerry like, you know, to work with back in the day?
He was a sky pilot.
For some reason, the same thing kept coming up over and over again. How he liked to harass people. And Willie Boyer told me, he said he'd be out on the job, the foreman would walk up and Gerry'd say, hey, there he is, tell him what you really think about him. And he used to do the same thing to me with Liz. She'd walk in the room and he'd say, geez, Mike, you're right, she is putting on weight. Luckily, she knows I would never say that, something mean about someone like that. But in all seriousness, we did learn a lot from Gerry. He taught us that you never walk on top of shelves. Because when you do, bad things can happen. This is the results. Maybe. There you go. That's Gerry after he walked down the shelf. So because of guys like him, we now know these things. But in all seriousness, Gerry, once again, I enjoyed working with you. It was always nice talking to you. And good luck with your time. That just leaves one guy left, Ken.
Say something, Kenny, while you're up there, will you?
See, I was going to make him stand up here the whole time just to torture him, but, you know, ever since Ken's retired, everyone keeps asking me, well, what's it like up there without Ken? And I said, you know, ever since he left, there's been an eerie silence. Then it hit me, no, that's while he was there was an eerie silence. But, you know, Ken was a hard worker, and he took his job very seriously, and at times he would get frustrated, and everyone's probably heard him. He'd sigh. Well, we got a picture of him one day when he got really frustrated. That's when he found out Kobolinski was his new partner. He just couldn't take that one. So that brings me to my last thing. Over time, there's been many great debates. And not since Miller Lite's debate of less tastes great, less filling, has there been a more heated one of who was the better hydraulic millwright. Was it Ken or was it Nick Wiseman? Now,
Jim Radcliffe.
I actually got to work with both of them a lot, so I know the truth. And I'm here to tell you, Stupinski carried both of them. They rode Joe's coattail the whole time. I didn't want to blow you in like that, Ken, but I couldn't hold it in no longer. Ken, I'd like to thank you for all you taught me and the years working together. It was fun, and I do miss working with you. You left me there with Rich, and he left me too. So. Now, thanks for all you taught me. I do appreciate it.
All right. I enjoyed working with you.
Roast and toast. You guys are welcome to stay as long as you like, well, until they kick us out, I guess. She would have something to say about that. Oh, I'm sorry. Stahlbaum didn't say nothing in time. Jeff, could you come up here? I forgot about you. How could I forget our boss?
Well, that's not a problem. I know that y'all getting old, it's getting to be your bedtime.
I sense a bad lineup coming for me next week.
You know it's a bow change, right? I'm going to do this in reverse order, so Kenny, come back up here. I would have kept you up here, but I know you need to exercise when you're retired. Thank you.
No special bag.
I even got some for Gerry. I saw him in the parking lot. You know, Kenny, can you hear me without the mic? Yeah. Good.
No.
Kenny comes to work every day. I see him every day, and he's wearing a blue shirt and blue pants. It's like
Talking to Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Use the mic.
All right, so Kenny comes every day to work. He shows up in blues, right? I don't know why you can't dress like everybody else. I think I broke it.
No, you can't.
All right. So, Kenny, because you always wear blues, everybody else dresses in different colors. I don't know what your problem is. Mike comes in blues. Dave comes in blues. Why can't you wear something different? Anyway, I came up with, it's a fashion statement. It's actually a hydraulic hose belt. And it's color coded. I don't know if I got the right size.
Wouldn't work for us, Jeff, I can tell you that.
I tried it out. I'm halfway around.
I gotta size this up. No, I'm not gay. Oh, look at that.
Oh, that's perfect.
It doubles as a flask. I don't have it patented yet. I'm not sure how to keep the liquid in, but if you feel, maybe hold it like this. Put bourbon or scotch in it. Now you got to tighten these things up. And I know that's rough, but it's called a JIC fitting. I don't know if you've ever heard of those. So wear that.
He's gonna, if you see him shopping in the mall, he'll have that on. It goes good with blues, trust me.
Thank you.
Gerry, Vallangeon, step on down. So everybody knows Gerry's a millwright, right? No. Well, he tries.
Allegedly.
But do you know any other millwright that's been doing electrical work this long? No. So I thought to myself, you know, Gerry does a lot of desk work, probably needs, I was going to get him a monogram mechanical pencil. And I thought, wait a minute, here's a mechanical guy doing electrical work. Do they make such a thing? An electrical mechanical pencil? So I invented one. I want to see him try it. I think it'll write itself, I'm not sure. It's patented too, by the way.
Mechanical, electrical. You got the best of both worlds. I don't get hurt. I'm not sure.
There's
John Fanzo. Alright, so I call bullshit. Okay? I saw the little slide you put up there with him, you know, getting his ass beat in the boxing ring. We've all heard stories. He claims to have a picture with Muhammad Ali. I say it's a young Puerto Rican kid. Doesn't look like John Fanzo. So John had a history before he came to work in the mill, and has told a lot of stories. Claims to have one award after another. Claims to have won a Golden Glove. I'm still calling bullshit. So I hooked up with Harriet the other night.
Look at his nose.
I said, let me see his man cave. He's got all this crap. I want to see it. I want the proof. She said, I'm telling you, it don't exist. You're welcome to look. Down in his crawl space, I found it. I found what he thought. I found what he thought.
How'd you fit in the crawl space?
I'm serious. He thought this was his Golden Gloves. So he wasn't lying. He's had those Golden Gloves, how long? 70s?
70-ish, yeah.
Yeah? Look how clean they stayed. I got, and I know, you know, this is a little over the top, but because Gerry Ward was Gerry Ward, I bought him a new Electra Glide Harley Davidson 2017. But since he didn't show up, I'm taking it back.
I know where he lives.
Screw Gerry. Thanks, guys. Been great. Drinks are on Mike.
Post that is.
Okay, not a problem, I got it.
Hey, would anybody like to say anything before we shut down the mic? Anybody want to get up and speak? All right. Hey, Rich. Yes, sir.
I'm wondering if I should sign this wall by May.
It's probably a pretty good idea, Gerry, I think. Yeah.
Why, you still remember your name?
Put the date in later.
In the beginning was the #1 caster. Started in the 70s. There's one man that he talked about making our shop better. He sits right over there, John Greaves. And it's good for him. He was the beginning of making our shop better. He was one of the best representatives at that time. And I think he's
All right, guys, open bar.
Woo!
That doesn't get you nothing blue. We're going to get some for safety. Wait. Safety complaint.
Wait a minute, Strickland's got some.
Oh, okay, guys, hold on. Hold on.
Hold on, is the camera running?
Wait a minute, let me change the battery.
I'm Mr. Strickland.
Who?
And
What's your first name?
Huh?
What's your first name?
Mister. I'm here to what? Okay.
Rufus.
I have one question.
Leroy.
Where's my chairs?
You're gonna have to go on the floor.
Well, if you guys aren't going to drink, I am. I have another meal.
Hey, Ed.
Soon to be signing the wall, I hope.
Stop by, Craig, solid. Yeah.
I was scared the last
Thank you.
Yep, whenever, if you...
Hey, Kenny.
Hi, Ken. Hi, Paul. Hey.
About 4 hours, it was time to go home. I haven't done. And Mom goes, oh, okay. Big as shit.
Me and Led Bob we went round and round quite a few times.
Yeah. I assume somebody.
Hey, Woody.
Moon in, sir.
Caught you.
Let's do this. Let's do this right now.
Right.
Yeah, I know.
I can hear them.
I know, but I work on cars. You need brakes.
Give me a break. Give him a break.
I'm the red pin. We're the blue pin right where we're at now. You're gonna get that. Nah, it's all going south of us.
What are you taking pictures? I don't want it on a post office.
This is going on Facebook,
Hey, thanks for not
Twitter,
retiring.
and what are all those other things?
Thanks for not retiring.
Yeah, okay.
Hey,
Because you're the guy that kept telling me, thanks for retiring last year.
How many more are we gonna retire with, Paul?
Oh, be quiet.
Yeah, I was wondering why you wasn't here yet. A lot of guys don't.
He's normally here.
A lot of guys don't.
Jack?
Hey, Paul. I haven't seen Jim Strong.
Getting
everybody.
I'm trying to get everybody, yeah.
Doing good, doing good, doing good.
Go back in the room.
Yeah.
Steve? Rich? We got plenty of you.
Yeah.
Not a lot of Hudson. Not a lot of Hudson. Not a lot of Kenny.
And you said
Kenny's
next.
wife.
Yeah. And you said next year's you.
Next for me. Thank you. Hey.
Hi, Paul.
Hey, how you doing?
Took over from Paul. Hi, Paul.
Hey.
You know, I credit him
Hey, Rome.
for doing all this, so it's good that, you know.
How's wife and Denise?
You're doing good.
If you put in by Huber's, and then drive down, head down that way in the water, there's a conservative
I still have a bike, but I'm too scared. Yeah. That's all right. That's all right. I'm just scared to ride anymore. It's invisible out there. Let's see it. It's true. God, I know so many people have been killed. I rode it one time last year. I fired it up the other day. I moved out of the way. I lit it up.